Okay, so everyone, welcome to our Bridge Forum this month. I'm really excited about at least one of the presenters. We get to have Ryan Parker from FamilySearch. He's going to talk about OneSearch, and I think the reason I really wanted him is I think the more we do our community projects, we're going to start to engage more and more with individuals who are looking for their family. And I think that what Ryan's team's put together will be super, super helpful because in the past we've always had to either search records or search tree, and they're going to make it possible to kind of do all of that at the same time. And then after Ryan's presentation, I'll talk about our Puerto Rico Connection Project. And I know a lot of you have helped with parts of it, so I think it'll be great for you to see kind of how the whole package came together. But with that, I'll just turn the time over to Ryan.
Thanks, Joe. You want me to take about 10, 15 minutes, is that right?
Yeah, and you can take questions during, and then we'll also have some questions right at the end. But when people have questions, they'll just raise their hand and you'll be able to see it. And if I see it, I'll let you know.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Ryan Parker. I'm a product manager at FamilySearch. I'm the product manager over the Latin America experience, which means we work on trying to improve the experiences on FamilySearch for our Latin American patrons. Today I'm going to show you a new feature that we just released. Well, I'd say re-released because we updated the technology to make it a lot faster, a lot more robust. So we're ready to kind of start talking about it, have other people try it. And what we call it is all collection search. Now you guys know, and historically, there's lots of places on FamilySearch where you can search. You can search on records, images, family tree, genealogies, catalog books, research wikis, and now cemeteries. So that's a lot of places to have to re-enter the same information. So if you're looking for information about a certain ancestor, you might have to put names, dates, places, relationships into records, and then do the same thing into tree, and then same thing into memories. So what we did is we pulled them all together into one search. The way you access it for now is just this little box on the homepage off to the right called All Collections Search. And that's what it'll be for a while we test it. And we'd love to get you guys' feedback. So I'll get you my contact information at the end so you can give me your feedback. There's still some things that are a little bit rough around the edges, but we think it's the right time to start showing it. So if you just click Start New Search, it takes you this really basic search just to kind of get you started. I'll show you what it's going to look like so you can get more advanced search options after you put in the basic information. So let's put in some really generic search information. Okay, I'll just make up something here. And now you click search, and what you'll see is that the search criteria is up here in the upper left-hand corner. You can edit it, and this is actually where you add more detailed information. So you can see you can add all the same criteria that you can do in record search and tree search. You can add relationships, you can add image information, you can add exact, all those things are possible. And you'll be able to see that criteria here. Now, the difference from what you're used to is this information on the left, which shows all of the filters that you can search. Now you'll see that we have counts for each of these, so you can see how many records matched your search criteria for each of the collections. Now there's a couple things. Memories right now does not have that count. That's coming this week, well, probably next week now, I guess. But you can drill down into any of these. So if I click on birth, marriage, and death collections, now what you're seeing is all these results are only for those collections. And so, and you can drill down further if you wanted to go down into a certain collection, and you can see you can keep drilling down, or you can back out and say, like, I want to, my search is too narrow, so I want to get more broad, and I can even go even more broad. So it allows you to kind of broaden your search and narrow your search. But what you'll see also, so let me just show you now family tree profiles. You can see I have all the same search criteria, and I didn't have to re-enter that information. Now I'm searching the tree and getting tree results. We also have these filters on the top where you can filter by birthplace, by birth year. Right now you have to re-implement those filters each time you change collection. That's another thing that's going to be coming shortly in the next couple of weeks. We'll have universal filtering, so you put them filters once and it'll filter across all collections. But to back out, you just go back up. Now let me show you memories. And again, memories is matching your same search criteria, but now we're searching all the memories. So we have photos, we have stories, we have audio. It searches all the different types of memories that we have. And you'll see that the search criteria matches people that are tagged. So if you want to find a certain memory for a certain person, you'll enter that search criteria. Let me show you something else. When you change the collections, it actually changes the search criteria because certain collections allow you to have certain um, different search criteria. So for example, in memories, you can enter keywords. So for example, if I wanted to enter, let's just say, I should have, well, we didn't get anything of that. So let me see something more broad. How about, and so what you can see is this now, so you can see the title here. So we search the title and description for the word that you looked for. So because memory supports keyword searching, which are tied to the title and description, you can put that while you're in that collection. Now, however, when you are looking at family tree profiles, let's here, let's see. Let's start. It looks like there's a little bug there. Okay. So so you saw there's keyword search when you were in memories. Now I'm going to go to family tree profiles. Because it doesn't support keywords, you won't see that field here. So this search criteria box will change a little bit as you switch between the different collections because the collections each and like so for example, if I go to birth, marriage, and death, because it's a record type, I have the ability to do image group and principal and things like that that are only searched by records. So if you want to narrow your search when you're into certain collections, make sure you look into the search criteria and change those because, like I said, different criteria are supported by different collections. The other thing we have here is we want to eventually integrate all the different search types that FamilySearch has. Right now, they're not integrated. So for example, genealogies, if you click on it, it's going to open up the genealogy search. The nice thing is that we pre-populate the search criteria for you so you don't have to enter it again. But expect that these to be integrated into the universal all search, all collection search soon. But we do, like I said, make it easy by having by entering the search criteria for you. The other thing we just recently added is the ability to do the same search in other of our partner websites. And again, we'll pass all of the search criteria for you. So if I click on Ancestry, we'll let you know that you're leaving FamilySearch and you're going to a new website. You go to Ancestry. But what we are going to do is pass the search criteria for you so you don't have to re-enter it. So it should make it a lot easier for you to search not only multiple collections on FamilySearch, but also search multiple websites without having to re-enter all the criteria. So that's the all collection search. Do you have any questions or comments or feedback?
So if you have a question, just raise your hand. I have a first question for you, Ryan. Can you tell us about how the experience differs between web and mobile? Like like you kind of showed us the web version. Would
Mhm.
anything be different if I was on a phone?
Yeah, it would be. So the what happens here, and I can just let me just do it real quick right here. So what happens is the criteria gets moved behind uh, a filter, so you can still see the results. If you click
Oh,
here, you
okay.
click that down arrow. Now here's all the things you can still narrow. So I want to narrow to birth, marriage, and death, and Alabama deaths. But now I just click close or close either way, and now you can see I'm just looking at that. So I still have the ability to narrow the criteria and search across all the collections. I just have to click this down arrow to change the collections that I'm in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Looks like you have a question.
Yeah, I appreciate it. On the genealogies, If I remember right, that's the ones that are not changeable but visible, uh, still on Family Search, correct?
That's right. Yeah, those
Well,
are,
only editable by the specified people for that. Okay, can you tell me again? You kind of went through it quickly. You said that that's not completely up and running. That has some interest to us for an African American group.
yeah. So genealogies works great, but you'll see it just takes you to a different product. So it takes you to the genealogies product. So it's not integrated into our all collections cert yet. So it's going to open up a new tab
Ah,
and you're going to be able to do all the same search you normally do with genealogy. And like I said, and we do pre-populate the criteria, so you don't have to re-enter it.
okay.
It does take you to the
It's
whole,
just a search using a different page,
that's right.
essentially. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thanks.
Mhm.
Brian, it looks like you have a question in the chat. Let me read that for you. It says, does it access ancestry records um, even if the user is not logged into a personal ancestry account?
No, it doesn't. So all it does is it passes the search criteria over to Ancestry. So you do have to have an Ancestry account to be able to view the records. You'll see like I am logged in here under my name, and so that's why I have access to it. If you didn't have an Ancestry account, you wouldn't be able to see these records. So it just makes your search easier, but it doesn't actually pull the records from Ancestry. It just takes you to their website.
Comment. Remember, in any Family Search Center or in Family Search affiliate libraries, typically they will also have Ancestry for free. You can't
That's
see
right.
trees, but you can still get all the research. So I assume, Ryan, that would populate nicely within a Family Search Center or an affiliate library, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you go to our centers or libraries, you get access to all of our partners' websites for free. So Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past, all of those. So yeah, if you're in our Family Search Center, you absolutely have access to all of those for free.
Then Ryan, can you show us the trees again? I'm just I was just kind of curious about at what point do you see a photo of the person? So I guess at this point, is that because they don't have photos? Like would I see photos if they had photos?
Yeah, you would.
Okay,
So
that little okay. So you're gonna like put someone in that would have a photo. Okay, great. That's
yeah.
awesome. Oh,
So
cool.
you can
Okay, that's
see,
awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I love that. Okay, other questions for Ryan?
I'll just make a comment. We just got finished teaching the second week of a 5-week Family Search class tonight on Zoom, and we introduced this to the class. They were thrilled.
oh, great. You kind of jumped the gun a little bit. So I'm glad that you tested it out. But yeah,
Well, I picked it up from Roots Tech, and I showed them where they could find it on the homepage. And one particular person who's a DAR member but is not familiar with Family Search immediately caught the vision of the utility of it. Very thankful.
Well, thank you. That's kind words from you. I appreciate it. And like I said, if you have any other comments, even we love negative feedback. That's something we can fix. So if you have things that aren't working, please let us know. The way you give us that feedback is by clicking this feedback button. It'll allow you to choose a specific part of the website or just general feedback and enter your information. So please give us all the feedback you've got. We're trying to improve it every day. So we really appreciate that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, any other questions for Ryan? Kind of unique chance to have the expert here. Like I always love it when we have a creator. Like we've had like, Richard Miller on the show before, on the this group before. Any other questions? Yes, Karen.
Are adoption records readily available through Family Search?
That's a great question. There are some, it just depends on the area and what we have. So I would say available but limited.
Okay, Thank you.
What category would that show up under? Would it be under birth, or would it show up under something
Yes,
different?
that's generally under birth, marriage,
Okay.
and death. So you'd look under here.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Donna, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Mhm.
Thanks. So when you're if you're putting in editing the search parameters, and
Mhm.
this question is just for all collections, but for all of Family Search, is there any plan on having the program automatically standardize the date?
That's a great question. So we've thought about that. I think we're getting close now that our algorithms are getting a lot smarter with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Right now we don't. And so we do have this ability to, this volunteer opportunity to help fix place names and help standardize them. So any help you guys can help us do that, we really appreciate. By helping us not only do you fix the names for those records and people in the tree, but you're also training our algorithms so that we can get smart and be able to do it ourselves eventually. So any help volunteering with that, we really appreciate. But right now we don't automatically standardize them, but hopefully soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Before my question, just to comment on the last one, how would you even be able to do that? Because somebody might put 1/4/1946. How is the computer going to figure out whether that's January 4th or April 1st?
Yeah, now you see the complexity of
Yeah.
it. So a lot of people say, why don't you just change them? And it's like, well, it requires a little bit of complexity. One way you kind of differentiate those is you look at other data supporting that, right? So similar records or attached sources or things like that. So yeah, it's not as straightforward as some people think it is and wonder why we don't already automatically standardize it. But
Yeah, most of us in the US for April 1st would put 4/1/year, but some places in the world and some conventions, they do put 1/4 for April 1st.
right.
Okay, the question, just to make sure I was understanding, the university and public libraries that are Family Search affiliates, they also have access to this.
That's right. Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
And I guess, Ryan, one last question. This is more like a search question. Does it hurt if you put too much stuff in? Like, should you put everything you know, or like, what's your kind of guidance to the general public about what to put in?
So Family Search and every genealogy website's tuned a little different. Family Search is tuned to do a broad search, so extra criteria helps. It doesn't make it worse. You can always try gradually adding more criteria, but our recommendation is to start with as much information as you have. And if you can't find what you're looking for, then you might try removing some information to give broad. But the Family Search algorithm is tuned to be a broad search. And which is why sometimes you'll see, even with this very specific information, you'll see that I'm still getting 2,820 search results. We do rank them in priority order. So you should see the most relevant ones at the top. But if you want to keep going through several pages, you can find the ones that are lower probability match. But yeah, extra criteria actually usually helps.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. I'm so glad you're able to present, and we're going to switch gears. So I'm going to do my presentation. We can still have some more Q&A at the end. So maybe if you want to stop sharing, I'll switch my slides on the screen.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to actually talk about something that for which Ryan's tool is going to be really useful. And this is called the Puerto Rico Connection Project. And I care a lot about Puerto Rico, but if Puerto Rico is not your thing, just think of the thing that's your thing and just think of this as the Skagit Connection Project or the Texas Connection Project. But I've really come to love Puerto Rico. But this is the experience we want to make possible. Is I find that I can usually help most people find their father or grandfather in less than a minute, just using the simple search tools on Family Search. And I find the questions that work really well is, what was their name? How long ago did they die? And then I usually ask, did they die here in Puerto Rico or somewhere else? And I find that those three questions are really quick and simple. And the reason I ask how long ago did they die is because sometimes they'll say, oh no, they're not dead. And then I just note to ask about a different ancestor. And so in this case, if you were to do these questions with me, I'd say my grandpa is Joseph Price. You know, he died in 2002 and died in California. And if you put that in, then you'd find my grandpa very quickly. And I just wanted to illustrate that I was in Austin recently, and these are all people that I was able to help find these are the deceased ancestors that I found for people that I was with. A lot of these are my Uber drivers or people I had dinner with. But I wanted to highlight that there are quite a few, or there's some of these people that are from different countries. Like in the lower right is Chile, in the upper lower left is Chile, upper left is Mexico. And I'm excited that we're getting better and better coverage on the tree so we can make this possible for more and more people. And the neat thing is, if you can find their relative, then you can give them an immediate gift right away. They'll be able to see photos and memories. They can look at sources with discovery information. For example, if they have a census record attached, they can see the occupation, the income, the education. They can see the names of other relatives. And then I always like to hit view my relationship to see if I am related to the person. So I think the key is we want to be able to help them find their family quickly. And then I've found that once they see their family, they're going to love FamilySearch. So, and the other neat thing about this is they don't have to have a FamilySearch account to have this experience. I'm logged into my FamilySearch account on my phone, and I can give them this immediate gift. So I think what I wanted to focus on today is just how we can make this work for more people. I think it's actually going to work really well for most of the United States, but I still think there's probably like subgroups within the United States for which this doesn't work as well. So I know like up in Skagit, you have several Native American groups, and my guess is would be if we tried this with some of the people from those different tribes, maybe it wouldn't work as well, but it could. So I'm going to focus on what we did to try to make this experience work better for people from Puerto Rico, but I think it could be done for any location in the US and then probably any record-rich country. Oh, and in Puerto Rico, when we got started, the coverage rate was 3%. So this is based on the 1910 census. So what we do is we started with the 1910 census. We were really lucky that Puerto Rico was included in the US 1910 census. So we had basically a Latin American country with US style records. So that was kind of a neat kind of blended thing. And then one of the really great things about Puerto Rico is that women keep their birth name. And most of the time people report both of their surnames. So for example, my name would be Joseph Price Johnson, and my wife would be Emily Grossnickel Todd. So it actually makes the family history work a lot easier because of that convention. And so we started at 3%. This was back in September 2020. And then by November 2021, we had achieved about 88 or 98% coverage. And actually, I thought it was interesting that we calculated coverage rates in November 2021 by state. And you can see that Puerto Rico had actually edged out Utah by just a bit, and Idaho and Iowa and some of the other states that already have really good coverage. And then what we did is we used the Map app, which is one of the tools in the record linking lab, to allow people to attach additional records. So we'd have volunteers that would come into the Map app and type in Puerto Rico. They'd pick one of these places, and then they would work on the record hints. And so that initial layer we put on became kind of a starting point for people to help out. And then Goldie May was a huge help, again, because Puerto Rico is part of the US censuses. People could go on Goldie May and type in Puerto Rico. And this screenshot's actually from today. There's about 4,700 hints still in Goldie May for Puerto Rico. So Goldie May was kind of another one of the tools that helped out a lot. And then we just set up lots of ways for people to help. So what you see on the right is just a Google Doc I set up where I just was trying to think of what are the easiest tasks that people could do. So I felt like Goldie May was pretty easy. The button was pretty easy. The Numinent hints were pretty easy. And then I had, other more difficult tasks. And then I created this little link. So let me just show you right here. So if you come down here to Puerto Rico, basically this is what the I don't want to call this a website. It's just a Google Doc. That's the nice thing is I'm pretty low tech with these things because I find Google Docs are just really easy for me to edit and collaborate with. And so then these are the beginner tasks. These are the intermediate tasks, and then these are the advanced tasks. And so what I liked about this approach was I felt like anyone that wanted to help could help somewhere. And so, like if someone wanted to help with the button, they would just click here, and then here they are at the button. And then they would just click this button to get a hint. And my goal was always to get them into SourceLinker as quick as possible. And so here they would be in SourceLinker, and they could decide if this is a match. You can see this is a Numinent record. Looks really great. You can see Maya Gase, the parents' names both match. And again, you can see the really nice thing where the mother keeps her maiden name. And so then I would just attach that. And then by attaching that, then we just put a new person on the tree. And so if Lucila is someone's grandma, now when they go on FamilySearch, they're going to find their grandma. And that was kind of really the goal. So I just wanted to illustrate that on any project, you can just set up a Google Doc and put different tasks in there. And it makes it really easy that if you want to, take a task off, you can, or if you discover a task is too hard, you can move it down pretty easy. And then I always try to create a little video. And so the little videos are just things I put on YouTube so that, people can follow those instructions. Now, the cool thing is at Roots Tech this year, FamilySearch actually, we worked with FamilySearch to actually create a connection project for the young adults that came to the after party. And so if you click on this, here we are now in Get Involved. And if you scroll right down here, you can see that there's this opportunity right next to all the other opportunities that you have, like indexing or quick name review or full name review. And then they had some information of how to do it. We were also there in person with them. So we had people from the BYU VROC, we had lots of interns and other volunteers. But if someone were to click this, notice they have like information. It says I've done 79 records so far. So I'm going to hit review another record. And again, here I am right back in SourceLinker. And so you can see this one's a really easy hint. And so I could attach that. But that was kind of a cool opportunity for lots of people who were new to FamilySearch to use Get Involved to participate. And so Brent Hansen actually put together some cool stats for me. So I wanted to share those from this activity. So they had about 4,000 young adults come to the after party. And of them, about 1,200 were able to do one of the hints. They did about 5,000 hints. They added about 1,300 names. They attached about 12,000 sources. They actually turned a whole bunch of profiles on the family tree into Green Temple. So this is just, and this is kind of a picture of the activities. You can see that there's kind of a QR code up on the screen. The youth would kind of come in. We had little circles of chairs where people could sit down, and basically the young adults would come in, scan the QR code, and do a few hints. And you can see kind of some of the pictures of some of the volunteers. They did have a Puerto Rican live band going. I think the live band was pretty awesome. Probably made it a little harder to talk because it was pretty loud. So I think there's kind of trade-offs of how you can set up this experience. But here's what I love the most about this activity is we had a whole bunch of young adults using SourceLinker, many for the first time. And we had helpers there just right alongside them, helping them have a great experience. So I think and then let me talk a little bit about what we're doing now, which is we're trying to help people with their own family. So now that we have really good coverage on the family tree, we've been helping individuals with their own family history. So we're working with a group of volunteers who live in Puerto Rico, and they just ask people if they'd like to see their family. They've been setting up tables in plazas, booths at events, and personal contacts. And what they do is they just ask the person those questions. They look to see if the person's on FamilySearch. And if they find them, they just send us the PID of that deceased ancestor. If they don't find them, they just send us the information that they were using to search. Now, this is where Ryan's tool is perfect because right now we were kind of searching the tree first and then record second. But I'm excited for the way that we could maybe do those all at one time. And then all we did was we just set up a super simple Google form. And all the volunteers send us is their email and the PID. And then we have a lot of volunteers that go to that PID and try to expand it out. So this would be an example where I'd get a PID for a person. And sometimes there's already a tree there. And so what I might do is I might try to expand it out or maybe look at Maria. So I just try to go in any direction that I can. And then we use the record hints that are on each person to try to grow out the family tree. And then we'll often go on Ancestry and look at public member trees. Puerto Rico has Ancestry has amazing market share in Puerto Rico. Like if you look at some of these Puerto Rican trees, they're huge. There's a lot of people that really love family history. And it's hard to tell if they live in Puerto Rico or if they're part of the diaspora here in the United States. There's actually more Puerto Ricans in the United States than there are in Puerto Rico. And so it's like a really interesting kind of blend of US and Latin America. And so I think the last slide I have is just I think you could apply what we're doing in Puerto Rico to any place. We've already laid down a really good base layer for the entire United States. So every single family with children in the 1910 census is on the tree. So that gives you a place to start for any community in the United States. And then you can just use the various tools to try to add layers on top of that. So you can use Goldie May, you can use Map App, you can use verse hints. And then you might want to think about, like, in what way would you like to invite people to see their family? I think there's lots of ways to do this. One that I'd be really excited if anyone wanted to try is a county fair. I did this in Oregon. This was one of my first forays into public kind of engagement with family history. It was a lot harder than I thought, but we learned that lots of people care deeply about their family. And if you can help them see their family quickly, then they're going to love FamilySearch. And then the neat thing about this is they don't have to have a FamilySearch account right away to have the discovery experience. But once they see their family, then they're much more likely to set up a FamilySearch account. Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll take any questions. Yes, Miles.
Yeah, of course, we've been playing around with these, going out with people and having the FamilySearch activities right there where people can get to them. We just finished up a family fun fest for our community, and we had a lot of Haitians come through.
Cool. Yeah.
And I had never done Haitian, lookups on FamilySearch. Of course, we weren't able to find very many of them in the tree, but I was very much amazed at how many of their current records are in FamilySearch. I mean, they're finding their parents, their marriages, their births, all of the stuff in those records. And it was a great event for those people who had come in and talked to us about it. And now with Ryan's one search capability there, we'll be able to look at the trees and the records simultaneously, and then try to make sure that we're getting the right people. So that's really good.
Yeah, and then Miles, I think one of the secret things you can do is you can have a support team kind of away from the activity at computers. And so when someone finds their family, you just send that quickly over to your support team and they can do the tree growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then the great thing you can tell someone is just, hey, come back in like 15 minutes and maybe we can show you more of your family. And the group we're working with in Puerto Rico, they try to print out a fan chart. And that's kind of the gift. That
We had people who would come through in the morning,
okay.
and then they would come back in the afternoon and they'd be like, hey, I brought my friends.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
we want to see if you can find their stuff.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That was really, really good.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That's the referrals. Yeah, Donna.
Yeah. Do you have a kind of a handy way if you work with somebody, you sit down with them and let's say both parents are deceased, but they're not in there, then do you just automatically go to the grandparents next?
Yeah, usually. Yeah, I mean, especially, well, it kind of, I mean, that's the hardest thing is if I'm working with a young adult, it's always tricky because there's no way their parents are going to be on the tree, even if they're deceased. So for them, I go right away to grandparents. Yeah, I think, like, Donna, what I'd say is I probably just judge it based on the age of the person and kind of gauge it that way. But I do usually try to go right to grandparents. I did have my Uber driver in Houston. He was African American, and we tried like all 4 grandparents, and he kept begging me to try more. He was like, "Well, but they were in the military. Will that help? Can we?" And so that was one where we did try quite a bit, and I don't know why we struck out there. I find in the U.S. it's pretty rare now to not be able to find one of their grandparents. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, any other questions or comments? You can ask Ryan questions as well. This is kind of our wrapping up period.
Well, Joe, I'll just mention something. It's not a question, but
sure.
Something that we're getting ready to finish up here. But with one of my projects, for the last 2 years, we've been doing that program with our Youth Guidance Academy for the after-school at-risk students. And we've been having a small class once a week doing family history with these students, and it's been going really well. And I know I presented that with this group previously, and we've got a BYU student who you had talked to, and now she's contacting me, and she's working on a project that we're, sort of helping her out with. But the interesting thing is we have one girl who's been in the class for 2 semesters now, and then her sister has been in for 1 semester. And we have our county, our genealogy conference coming up that we're putting on. And those 2 girls are doing a program during our family history conference or our genealogy conference with Tania Kuntz. And I don't know if you know Tania Kuntz, but she does a lot of African-American research. And so she's coming in, she's doing a class interviewing those 2 girls about their African-American roots. And what that has done for us is now it opened up a community outreach for the African-American community here. And we've invited a couple of the leaders from that community. One of them is giving a presentation on the history of the community and the people who live there. And another one is the local church leader, and they're going to come in and listen into the program. And we also are working on getting a string quartet from their youth orchestra to come and perform. So this is just because of that outreach program we were doing with the county, this is growing a lot bigger, and we're now getting inroads to a community that we really didn't access before.
That's cool, Miles. That's pretty awesome. Here, let me show one last thing. I just wanted you to see how we interact with the volunteers in Puerto Rico. So we have a Google form where all they need to do is just put in their email and the PID of the person. And you can see here, they didn't have a PID. So what they did is they just put in some info about it. And I wanted to show you kind of how this works. Is then I have volunteers that come in. And so let's go down to like an empty spot so you can kind of see the process. So we come down here to the bottom. You can see right here. So like, here's one that came in. So I could put in my name as a volunteer. And then I could grab this PID. I would go to that PID on the tree, grow it out, and then I'd leave a little comment about what I was able to do, and then just change the status to complete. And so this allows us to kind of manage, allows the volunteers who are sending us things from Puerto Rico to then tap into, people who are pretty good at genealogy that are helping out over here. And the nice thing about this is because it's set up in a Google Sheet, it's really easy for us to invite whatever volunteers want to help and get involved in this project. Okay, so before we close, Ryan, was there anything else you wanted to share, kind of any last comments before we close up today?
No, just I really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share that with you. And like I said, we love your feedback. So please hit that button and give me your feedback so we can make improvements.
Okay, sweet. Thanks, Ryan. So I think what I'd say, like, here's our recap for today. I really think what Ryan showed us is going to be the way that we'll engage with the general public in the future. I could imagine us doing it on our phones or at a computer. That what it's going to do is just allow you to search everything on FamilySearch in one shot. And I'll even say, like, I bet you're going to see generative AI play a role in search in the future, where maybe search will start to be more of a conversation. Like, like, these are things I know about my family, but you want one search that then, as you start talking about your family, one search is going to be basically getting those things already, so that the moment you stop talking, you're going to have those results showing up. And then for the stuff I showed you for Puerto Rico, I guess one thing I've learned from that experience is it is possible to love people that you're not related to, and that a project that you choose, a community that you want to help, can actually become as meaningful to you as any other family history project that you've ever done. I've actually never been to Puerto Rico still. I'm hoping to go next fall, but I've really come to love the people there. And it's been really neat that it's becoming easier and easier for people to find their family, because every time we help one person, then all of their first and second cousins are already helped. So basically we're picking off each little chunk of the tree, kind of one person at a time. Okay, so with that, we'll close for this month, and then I'll just announce who we have next month. We're going to have Devin Ashby, another person from FamilySearch, a good friend of Ryan, and then we're going to have Amber Oldenburg, who presented at Roots Tech about one of the largest ever collections of records for women. It occurred during World War I, where they basically had kind of a census of women And women would list all of the different skills they had and everything about them, so that the government could actually think about how to tap women as part of the war effort in terms of, and World War I was so short but they didn't know that. So they thought, well, how do we tap into this, like all these women? And so it's a really cool collection. She'll talk about that next month. But with that, we'll end for today. And so I'll stop the recording, but you're welcome to stick around for a little bit.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
And everybody.